The Bourne Ultimatum was the last film in the Bourne franchise, or so we thought. This one was once again directed by Paul Greengrass and starred Matt Damon as Jason Bourne. Welcome back to my Bourne series. I've been covering every single Jason Bourne movie leading up to the new Jason Bourne film. I'm skipping the Bourne Legacy because I reviewed that back in the day and I don't feel like re-reviewing it. I didn't really enjoy that movie. Let's talk about what for some people, myself included, is the favorite Bourne film in the entire franchise. Critics and audiences alike were blown away by this movie. It's a great action film. It's a non-stop action film. There is barely a moment to breathe, and even the smaller character scenes are very exciting and very well acted. And there's not a bit of dialogue that feels wasted. That's one of my favorite things about the Bourne Ultimatum. There isn't a scene that feels like, oh, that's a throwaway scene. There's not a pee break scene. There's no scenes like that. Even smaller moments where characters are talking over a meal or something, progressing the plot along, it all feels very vital. And you can attribute a lot of that vitality to Paul Greengrass and his style. Once again, this film is directed with his signature documentary style, and it really works for the Bourne universe. These films need that kind of style. You could go in a more traditional route, but I really do think that that style is one of the main reasons these films were so successful, because they do feel a lot more grounded and realistic. Despite the fact that giant, big Hollywood moments are happening right before our eyes, there's something about the way the film is helmed, and especially the editing, that makes it feel so rich, as if you're watching things that are actually happening. And just to let you know, just like my reviews of Supremacy and Identity, this video is going to contain some spoilers for the Bourne Ultimatum. If you haven't seen it, watch it. You've been warned. As I discussed in my previous Bourne reviews, the Bourne Identity to me is the best character piece. It explores Jason Bourne as a person very well. The Bourne Supremacy for me is the best thriller because it is a very much so non-stop thriller, but it's not as action heavy as the Bourne Ultimatum, which is, in my opinion, the best action movie of the three, largely because of a white-knuckled sequence in Tangiers. We have a motorbike chase, to a foot chase, to a rooftop chase, to another chase through various windows, jumping off balconies, culminating in my favorite fight scene of the entire trilogy, that of Bourne versus Desh. This is a badass fight. It is edited very fast, it is very shaky, but it is a major improvement on the fight scene in Supremacy. As I mentioned in my review for Supremacy, I didn't think Greengrass did a very good job with the fight scene in that movie. Here in Ultimatum, he has perfected his technique. It looks much better, it looks much cleaner, and with this style, you either like it or you don't. And I generally hate it. I've said this before in my other reviews, especially for the Bourne films. I don't really like shaky cam at all. I've spoken very negatively about it in the past. Greengrass gets a pass. Might as well call him Paul Green Pass. I'm very sorry, because in my opinion, he does it well. There isn't some attempt to hide poor stunt work or poor camera work. It's used as a way to boost the drama of the moment and of the film. And him and his cinematographer craft some really beautiful moments, and the Bourne Ultimatum is filled with them. In Supremacy, Joan Allen was looking for Jason Bourne, but she wasn't like Brian Cox's character. She didn't just want to find him and kill him to erase past mistakes. She wanted to find him to know the truth. And in this film, she has yet another person roadblocking her from that, David Strathairn, and he is fantastic in this movie as a ruthless guy who is after Jason Bourne and will do anything to find him. So this pair, along with some really intense sequences trying to track Jason Bourne with security cameras, make the background action of the movie away from Jason Bourne just as riveting as those rooftop chases, as those car chases. The reason this movie is my favorite of the three, despite the fact that it doesn't have quite as much character depth as Identity, and it doesn't have as much exploration of Bourne and his relationship with Marie that Supremacy had, this is the one that just was an action movie. There isn't a forced romance. There isn't some stupid element that's added to the movie to give it more drama than it already has. It is an action movie that knows exactly what it is. There is one hint at romance in this movie, and it adds to the drama so well. When he's talking to Julia Stiles' character and he wants to know why she's helping him, why is she taking pity on him, and there's this little hint that they've had a past relationship when she says this.
It was difficult for me. With you. You really don't remember anything?
No.
Just that one little moment hints that maybe in the past there was something between them, and he since completely forgot about that. And the reason it actually adds is because you look back at Identity. You see the scene where Julia Stiles is kind of frightened and taken aback by Bourne standing there. You look back at their moments in Supremacy where he pinned her down in that bathroom and nearly killed her, and you add all of this weight to those moments, and it makes the other two films even better. And that's really hard to do for a sequel, to make the other films before it actually slightly better in small ways without coming off as a cheap ploy of some kind, and it really works. But of course, what you really want in this movie is some answers. You want some background information. You want to know how he got into this position as an assassin. And the things you learn through Albert Finney's character are kind of heartbreaking. The flashback sequences in which you see Bourne trying to figure out if he wants to give himself to this program or not, it's some pretty intense shit. And you start to feel even more for this guy. But he's changed so much as a person, and it's such a great story because all of the other people around him are like, why are you acting like this? You wanted to do this. This was your idea, dude. But that's just not who he is anymore because of that accident that happened. And it makes for some really entertaining dramatic moments, and the action is just non-stop. Whether it's the Waterloo sequence in which he's trying to lead this reporter around to keep him away from the cameras, or the sequence where he beats up those guys and looks and sees one last camera remaining and goes, shit, well, they caught me. You cut back to the people in the CIA and they're like, fuck. Something else that Bourne Ultimatum did that I actually didn't notice the first time I saw it in theaters is that it takes place sort of interwoven with Supremacy. The first half of it takes place kind of pushed in the middle of Supremacy. And then there's this sequence where he's talking to Pamela Landy on a rooftop, and after that, it takes place after Supremacy. A film like this did not have to do that, but they went that route. They tried to enrich the story even more. In fact, most people who saw it probably wouldn't have even noticed unless they were really looking for it or they're big fans of the Bourne franchise. Ultimatum has terrific action sequences, a non-stop, explosively entertaining movie, another great performance from Matt Damon and the entire supporting cast, as well as excellent direction from Paul Greengrass and another awesome score by John Powell. The Bourne Ultimatum is easily my favorite of the original trilogy, and I'm gonna give it an A+. I cannot wait for Jason Bourne. That review is coming soon. Thank you guys so much, as always, for watching. And as always, shit.
Your advance ticket for Jason Bourne. Who's Stuckmann eyes now, bitch?